I'm Danielle, and welcome to This Enchant House. Today we are talking about estate sales and how they can be a resource when trying to fulfill your aesthetic goals. So we're going to talk about this is a guide to estate sales, and then I just went to an estate sale yesterday, and I'm going to go through and share my haul with you, but we're going to do that at the end of the video. So if that's what you're interested in, I will put a timestamp below. Okay, so what is an estate sale? An estate sale is a one-time sale that's organized after a person has passed away to sell off all of their personal belongings. And I know right off the bat it sounds a little morbid, but it's part of how we, at least here in the U.S., deal with a person's estate. So an estate is everything that you own that is passed on to your heirs. So that includes like your house, all your personal belongings, and financial estate. Estate sales deals specifically with the personal belongings. This is like your furniture, your clothing, basically all the things inside the house. The house usually is sold in a more traditional manner through like a realtor. So I've gone through this process before, and the first thing is the family goes through and picks out the personal effects that they're going to keep for themselves. So there's nothing that's getting sold that the family wanted to keep. But over a lifetime, you collect a lot of stuff. Even if you're someone who's very minimalist, there's still lots of stuff that maybe your family or your heirs don't want, but could be useful to other people. So hence an estate sale. There are basically three kinds. The first is an estate auction, and this is usually, you see this more with wealthier households where there's actually like collectible valuables. They'll have an estate auction so they can try to get the best price possible for those items. You can find these online. You still can get good deals through an estate auction, but they tend to be more pricier simply because they're selling more expensive items to begin with. The other one is is an actual estate sale where there's a couple days, usually one time, where it'll be advertised there's an estate sale. You can come and cruise and buy things. These are usually where you're going to get the best deals because these things are priced to sell because the heirs have no use for them or do not want them, and they're mostly trying to get rid of them quickly, but in a good way that actually rehomes them with someone else. So if you're someone who likes antiques or vintage or stuff like that, estate sales are a really great resource. Among estate sales, there's two kinds. There are privately listed and those that are where a company has been hired to do the estate sale. Privately listed means it's the family that's doing it. They are in charge of everything. They've gone through all the stuff and they're putting it out. But there are companies that also handle estate sales, which is a service that families can find useful, especially if they have a relative who has a preponderance of items, or they don't feel comfortable doing it themselves, or they're still in that point in the grieving process where maybe they can't handle it, but having someone come in and help them. So there's both kinds, and we're going to talk more about what you get with each kind later. Why estate sales? Like I said, estate sales are great if you are looking for vintage items or secondhand items or unusual items. Because unlike garage sales, moving sales, car boot sales like in the UK, flea markets, or secondhand stores, this is like everything. This is like if you took the contents of a house and basically put everything in the house for sale. So you're more likely to find interesting, unusual, vintage, one-of-a-kind items, and you find just a greater variety. That being said, there is going to be some competition because estate sales are actually one of the primary sources for people who run vintage boutiques or antique stores, or even people who sell at flea markets. A lot of times what they do is they go around to estate sales, get things at really good prices, and then resell them later. Not that that's a bad thing, because not everyone has time to go to dozens of estate sales looking for what they want. And It's also just like, it's like a service, and you're paying that extra price for all the work the person went in to kind of assemble everything. So how do you find an estate sale? For me, there's two primary methods: Facebook and the estate sales app. So Facebook Marketplace, there's an option for garage sales, and if you follow that, sometimes people will list estate sales there too, especially if they're privately listed. Also, a lot of these companies have Facebook pages, and if you follow them, they will list their sales. They'll promote their upcoming sales. Say we're having a sale here, and they'll post some preview pictures. My favorite though is the estate sales app. So you can download it to your phone and you can click on it and it will come up with a map, and you can set like a radius of how far you're willing to drive, and you have different options of what you can see. So you can see, I think, up to 2 weeks out, and you can click on sales, and you can, not always, but usually they will have like pictures of previews of things, so you can kind of get an idea of what's at the estate sale and if it's something you'd be interested in going to. You can favorite them so you can find them easily again later. And you can show them in list view or map view. You can get instructions, and usually there's some information about the sale and what you need to know before you go. So those are the ways you can find estate sales. And then what I like to do is I like to go through twice a week. I usually go through at the beginning or towards the end after I've gone to a bunch of estate sales. Then I kind of go through favorites, and then at the beginning of the week I kind of look at which ones I want to go to, and I keep track on those and kind of create a schedule based around my other schedule, and I can go to those estate sales. Also, for finding sales, one of the most interesting ways is sometimes you're just driving around and you see a sign for an estate sale, and if you have time, stop by. Some of my best estate sale finds have been I've been out driving and I see the sign for the estate sale, and I'm like, oh, stop by since I'm here and I got a little bit of extra time before I have to get where I'm going. And I found some really interesting things that way. So don't discount the random estate sale has popped up sign either. So what should you check for before you go? First of all, just look if it is a private or a company. I will say 90% of the time, 99% of the time, if it's a private sale, it's going to be like cash check only. Because it's not worth a family for a one-time sale to use a credit card. The companies often will take cards as well, but always check the listing. They'll usually say, this is what we will accept, this is not what we'll accept. They will also usually list any rules that they have for the estate sale itself, whether, in terms of like how to pick up furniture, if you purchase something large, their policy on pre-sales, stuff like that. And you should check that out as part of your planning for when you get there. So pre-shopping. Like I said, most sales that you find online will have pictures of the listings, and then they'll feature things they think are very neat or valuable that people will be interested in. They'll have some general pictures of like how things are laid out. Go through and look through the pictures and really kind of pre-shop and say, oh, that's something I want. And honestly, that's a lot of times how I determine the sale is I will go through the pre-shop, do my pre-shop, and go through and look and say, okay, these are the things I'm interested in. And these are the things, so I'm going to keep an eye out for these things for sure. Keeping in mind, when you get there will probably find more things that interest you. You can only do so much through pictures. Sometimes things are in boxes and you go through a box and you find something you really like. Sometimes you get there and something that didn't look great in the picture, you see it up close and you like it. So pre-shop with an idea, but know when you get there you're probably going to change your mind on things. You're probably going to things may already have been bought before you can get to them, which happens a lot. But it's good to go with kind of a plan of what you want, and just even that helps you narrow down your sales is to figure out which ones you want to go to. In general, for pre-shopping, you might want to start kind of getting a list of ideas of things you look for. So I look for unusual art. I look for dollhouse miniatures because I'm into dollhouse miniatures. I look for vintage fashion both for myself and Aurora because Aurora loves vintage fashion. I have some specific things I'm looking for, like I am looking for a bookshelf to hold all my cookbooks, and I have kind of particular dimensions that I need for the space I want to put it. And I'm still looking for that. But so have sort of a general list of things you're interested in, and then you can apply that when you pre-shop. So what to bring. First, big one is always check what kind of payment is accepted. Like I said, they'll list it on the sale, and you should bring that. Even if they take cards, I usually like to bring, $50, $100 cash, because usually unless I'm looking at something big like a piece of furniture or something that's like really truly an antique and is listed as such, that's going to cover a lot of what I buy. And it's quick and easy. You don't have to worry about your card or like internet reception or stuff like that. And like I said, private sales, they're not probably going to take your card anyway. Second thing to bring, bags. A lot of the estate sales will have plastic bags available or bags available, but I like to bring my own. You can use it to carry as you go around to get stuff, though most sales will also have a hold table, so if you're getting lots of stuff and you don't want to carry it all around, you can bring it up to where the checkout is and they'll have a table set aside. You can put your stuff there and you can put your name on it, say like this, so it'll say Danielle, and they'll have a pile of stuff you're getting. And I've done that several times because, so my bag that I usually take with me is this one. It's from Water of Whimsy. It's like just a small little bag, mostly because sometimes it helps limit me from spending too much, but sometimes you also just find bigger things and you want to get them and they won't fit into any bag. So, but this is my bag. It's from artist Water of Whimsy. I'll put a link below. She makes really cool stuff and I love it. She does like a lot of beautiful art, and this bag is it's fairly new, but it's already gone to quite a few sales. So dress for comfort. Comfortable shoes, comfortable clothes, because you're going to be on your feet, walking around a lot. You might be going, depending on the house, if it's a very old house, it might have some interesting stairs or into basements, and you just want to be, it's a time to be comfortable. Another thing you might want to bring is a mask, especially if you have allergies or asthma or breathing problems. Houses can be dusty, there can be pets, or there could have been pets. Usually there won't be pets at the sale. I've never gone and had a pet there. But I know COVID's over now, but you probably still have your mask, so just keep it in your purse. And if you feel like you walk in the door and there's a layer of dust on everything still, or it still seems very dusty, you can always put the mask on. Usually people clean up beforehand and it's not that big a deal, but it's nice to have one, especially if you're in a basement or you're going in an area where you just don't feel comfortable. So just having the mask on hand is nice. You don't necessarily need it now, but it's something to keep on you. Like I said, you probably have one anyway. Just keep it in purse pocket, whatever, in your car, just in case. Bring a friend. I don't always get to bring a friend, but usually Aurora is my most common companion. Victor comes with me if I think there's something interesting he would like if there's like collectible cars, or he collects coins and things like that. So if there's a sale that has those, I usually try to bring him along. So have a friend, in part because you guys can kind of separate, and if you might find something they like, they might find something you like. If you get something big and you need to move it out to your car, it's helpful to have someone help you, and it's just nice. It's a nice way to spend a day with someone. The next thing to have is make sure if you're getting something large that you have a way to get it home. If you've done pre-shopping and you've seen something you want to get that's large, make sure you have a plan to get it home that day. But even if you haven't, you might find something, so you want to make sure you have a plan to get it home, and that could be a friend's car or truck, or maybe a rental thing, because estate sales, there is no delivery service, and a lot of times you are completely responsible for moving it from wherever it's at to getting it back to your house. Depending on the sale, a lot of times you can do the thing where you buy it, say, I'm going to go get this and come back, and they'll let you do that. But sometimes they are even like, no, you can take this out here right away before you leave. And depending on how far you've traveled for the sale also will play a factor. If you've traveled 30, 40 an hour to a sale, you might want to be able to be kind of one and done and gone. So just keep that in mind. When to go to an estate sale. It depends on the estate sale. Some last a couple days, some will be a one-day only thing. And really the decision is, do you want to go earlier or later? And it's going to depend on what your purpose is. Earlier, there's going to be more stuff available, but later they will start to discount prices and they will start to you can get better deals. But a lot of the stuff that maybe was really interesting or really cool will be gone. So it's price versus selection. I always lean on the side of selection because I'm really more interested in getting those really unusual and interesting things for my house and for my clothes and all that. So if you are trying to get something more utilitarian or more useful, like appliances, cookware, you might try to go later so you can get a better deal. I will say, in general, if it is a company, they will not do discounts. They have like a set policy of when they do discounts, and you can even ask, say, when do you do discounts? So if it's like a multiple-day sale, they might say, we only do discounts on the last day, or if it's a one-day sale, we only start doing discounts after like 3 o'clock. If it's a family or a private sale, there is more room for negotiation, though depending, you might not feel how comfortable you feel and how comfortable they seem. You might not want to push it in terms of that, but usually you can say like, hey, if I get all this stuff, can you give me a deal on it? Or if I, and the family might say, no, we're not doing discounts till later in the sale either. That's, but they're more likely early on, I will say. You have to read the people you're dealing with, basically. So when you get to the estate sale, the first is to check to see if there's a wait to get in. Because estate sales are often held in people's homes, there is a limited capacity, and sometimes there are, and depending on who's running the sale will depend how you get in. Sometimes you just have to get in line. Sometimes there's a sign up and they call names. Sometimes there's a lottery with numbers. You just have to go with whatever is going on there. This usually is the case much more early in the sale. When sales go to their later stages, there are usually less people there, and you can usually just walk in. So just check, first thing to do is check what the policy is to get in the door. Second, take your time and look around. Go through boxes, go through bins, examine things, make sure if you're picking out something, it's something you really want. As you find things, like I said, most estate sales will have a reserve table where you can put things, and you can make use of that, especially if it's something big, so you don't have to carry it around, or you've got like a lot of little things, or it's something fragile and you don't want to drop it and break it. Yeah, make sure you use the reserve table. Since the estate sale is the sale if someone's passed away, try to be respectful, try to be polite. I honestly, hopefully shouldn't have to say this, but I have met some people at estate sales who have been very bad actors, and just don't be those people. These include things like overly haggling, for trying to over-haggle for prices, which can often cause backups for people trying to check out, which then can cause backups for people trying to come in. Making sure you're parked appropriately and you're not blocking someone's driveway, or you're, giving, because when you're the neighbor of someone who's having an estate sale, and I had this happen, which was great because I could walk across the street to this estate sale and, I didn't have to wait long. But on the other hand, it was kind of a nightmare driving through. So try to park, try to park your car respectfully. Don't block people's driveways. Don't park from fire hydrants. Don't block streets. Don't park on people's lawns. And be considerate of the people around in the neighborhood too. And finally, be considerate of the other people at the sale, and make sure, if there's a sign and it's, there's always someone who will inform you, oh, the sign is over there, or oh, they're doing lottery, or oh, you just have to wait in line. However, they've worked it out. There's people who I have found, in general, most of the people are really nice, really polite. But just make sure you're one of those people, and not one of the people who don't ruin it for everyone. All right. So let's talk about estate sale hauls, and I'm going to go through my haul, but I kind of wanted, before we go through the haul, kind of talk about my favorite part of estate sales, and that is you kind of get to see a life lived. And you get kind of a glimpse of this person that you've never met, but maybe you've connected to in some way because there's something they have and you've seen, and you're like, oh, I like that thing too. I went to an estate sale for the house belonged to previously a doctor and a teacher, and there's all sorts of wonderful antique books and medical equipment, like antique medical equipment. It's where I bought the microscope, and they just seemed like a very nice normal couple, but they had such their interests were very clear. Or I went to the one who was 90% sure was a witch. She had jars and jars of herbs all over, books on herbs and potions. And I got that beautiful stained glass and my fortune teller teacup there. And And most recently, the estate sale I went to was a lady who was clearly into art and travel. She had objects to art from all over the world, especially it seems like she traveled extensively in Japan. She had a lot from Japan and Russia and Thailand. So there were newer things from these countries, but also things dating back to the 60s. She was clearly into art. She had art studio set up. She sewed her own clothes. And luckily for me, I think she was my size. And so we'll get to that in the haul in a second here. But she had she had an antique sewing machine, which I didn't get, and all sorts of sewing supplies and art supplies. Beautiful objects. She was also a doll collector and collected dolls from around the world. There were also, if you were into creepy dolls, she had a nice collection of creepy dolls too, which is a thing. Like I say, if you're off, if your aesthetic is off or different, if you are more goth or dark cottagecore or witchcore, estate sales can be a really great way to find things that fit with that, even if it's not necessarily what that person was into. Sometimes you find things that are adjacent, and it works out great. And it's really, I feel every time I buy things from a estate sale, I feel really honored that I got to kind of get a glimpse into this person's life, and I feel like I'm becoming a caretaker for some of their life, and that there's sort of this shared experience across generations, across time, and it's really a really great feeling. And I'm now the steward of these objects, and hopefully someday there'll be an estate sale for me, far future hopefully, and there'll be some young person who comes in and is excited to find this thing because it's been preserved because I took it on, So let's go through my latest estate sale find. So like I said, there's kind of objects I'm always on the lookout for, and one of them is vintage fashion. And it's more for Aurora, because usually finding plus size vintage fashion can be a nightmare. There's very little of it has survived, and what has is usually very expensive. So I kind of lucked out this time, and both Aurora and I found some really great pieces, and so let's look at it. So first up, I'm going to show you some of the things Aurora found. And apparently, she has been looking for a little crocheted vest like this for ages. And she found it, and it was in the box in the garage. It was not in the closet. But I almost wonder if it was supposed to be a bag and they never finished the bottom. But she can totally wear this as a top, and it's really cute. And it's very much her current aesthetic, which is this sort of 60s, 70s vibe. The reason she went with me is we saw this next outfit in the picture. It's this cowboy shirt. And it's this is handmade. I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to put it up here. So it's got this great little detail and embroidery, but we didn't realize from the picture is it's actually a set, and then includes the belt and the skirt with it. And so Aurora got this too. And so when it comes to vintage fashion, I usually don't look so much for myself. It's very rare for me to find stuff that's my size. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, I'm not sure how exactly vintage this is, because at the sale, it looks like a lot of the stuff was smaller sized, and I'm assuming it's from the 60s when this person was person was younger. But they were apparently more like a 2X, 3X later on. So there were clothes that would have fit me. I didn't find a whole lot that I was really interested in, except these skirts. These are handmade, like this outfit. There are these there's these wonderful cottagecore skirts, and they're my size, and I got them for a couple dollars. So and this one has this great little ruffle on the bottom that's been it's finished on a serger. So yay. This one was not pictured at all, and it's so that's why I talk about, you're gonna find stuff there that wasn't pictured, and just be prepared for that. What I do look for is more vintage accessories, and we did see that there was a box of gloves, and Aurora and I were kind of excited about that. So Aurora grabbed these really nice silky pink ones before I found the box. But I got this really nice long pair of white gloves and this pair that have this great beaded detail on them. So that goes around. So these are always kind of things to look out for in these sales. I also, and this is just a small thing, got this really nice, pretty bandana. Not anything particularly special. It's just a couple, but I think just a couple cents, and I can incorporate that into my everyday wear. And finally, I'm always on the lookout for interesting handbags. And I got this lovely little leather one. And it's still in really good shape. It's got the pressed leather, and the handle strap's a little beat up, but not bad. And so this is another thing I just added to my wardrobe. Next up, I am always on the lookout for vintage books because they have neat covers and they look great on my shelves. They have some really interesting topics. They're great as primary sources when you're doing research on things. And so I'm always on the lookout for vintage books. So this trip, the first one is actually a book I got from my wonderful husband. If you follow me on Instagram, check out my social media below. He is very much into mixology and mixed drinks, and so this is a vintage book from the 1950s on making drinks, and so I got this for him. Like I said, this woman traveled extensively in Asia, and I was excited to find a book on Chinese cooking, which is something I'm just really interested in right now. I've always kind of loved stir fries and food like that. So this one, the neat thing about this is it has it in both languages, so kind of a neat thing there. And actually this just fell out of it. So there's another little booklet with Chinese recipes in here. I'm not sure what this is from. Second edition, Quan Distributors for USA from 1940s. Very cool. So I'm not sure about the accuracy of, the authenticity of the recipes, but it's, vintage Chinese, 1940s. There's a great documentary, it's on Netflix, about, I'll put a link below, about the history of Chinese food in America and how it's different, how it's the same, all that stuff. So vintage cookbooks. My sister really likes to bake. She has a really great Instagram where she shows off what she's baking. She's really gotten into vintage cookbooks and trying vintage recipes, so I got some books for her. This one is one you can find pretty common. She may already have it, but I don't know if she has this version of it. It's Betty Crocker's Good and Easy Cookbook. It is done by Golden Books, who do like the children's books, but it's really cute and vintagey, and if she doesn't want it, I will definitely keep it. It's got the kind of little cute mid-century things, and these are always kind of interesting to go through and try. And if you are interested in vintage cookbooks, I also recommend Glenn and Friends channel. Every Sunday he does a recipe from an old cookbook. When it can be something like this, it can be something from the 1600s, but it's always really interesting, and he always has the research about, well, this is what they meant by that, and this is how you kind of can recreate it today, and how ingredients have changed, and how we use them. So I'll put a link for him below too. The next one I got for her, and I just thought was interesting, is this what looks like a military cookbook from the Navy. It's from 1966. It says Dare to Excel in Cooking, printed courtesy of the Navy League. So, and I love the illustrations in it with the guy. It's got the guy peeling potatoes, which was like a cliche, and it's got some great recipes too. So I'm gonna let her take a look at these, and if she doesn't want them, I'll keep them. The last one I got is because her nickname is Boston, and they have the Boston Cooking School cookbook, which also has some, hand-printed, hand-typed recipes in it. And like the first one in here is red velvet cake. So I'm kind of interested to see what she takes out of this. This is from, I want to say, let's see, the 40s. Also, this one is also from the 40s. So the last thing I got, and it's kind of in the same vein as the cookbooks, are these recipe boxes. And this is always kind of an interesting thing to get at estate sales, because they will have, you know, all sorts of, like there's, so like just to pull one out here, there's a wonderful handwritten recipe for blueberry muffins. And like I said, this is like that connection to that person. This is that person's writing, and this is something they wrote down they thought sounded good, so you can try it. They also have, you know, you also find clipped recipes. Like here's one for standard white bread from Women's Day. So these are always kind of fun and interesting to go through as well. And I got 3 of them for like $1. So, and I hope she will enjoy this also. So finally, like I said, the main reason I go to estate sales is I'm always looking for the really interesting, the really unusual, and this estate sale did not disappoint. So first of all, like I said, I am into dollhouses and miniatures, and so I got this tiny little brass basket. Hopefully they'll focus in on that, maybe. I'll pull it back by me. It's on face right now, so, but tiny little brass basket. And then, like I said, this woman traveled extensively, and I've got this little vase. I don't know if it's going to be blurry. He's got a face on there. Maybe I'll focus on his face. Yay, look, it's focusing on his face. Yeah, this great little vase. I'm judging by it, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it says made in Japan. It says made in occupied Japan, so this was made in the in the late 40s, early 50s. So, and this is, you know, the art is definitely Japanese, so this is an interesting period from this is an interesting artifact from an interesting period in history, the occupation of Japan after World War II, which is a whole topic into itself. But so this is just a really interesting little piece of history there, which makes you wonder. There's a lot from Japan in the 1940s. I almost wonder if this is someone I thought maybe she traveled, maybe she, you know, lived there as part of a military family, which is, the U.S. still has a military presence in Japan today. So that is entirely possible why she has this stuff. But she has stuff from other countries too, and then I do get this feeling she traveled a lot. So speaking of which, brings us to this lovely box that I feel like it's very Eastern European. I'd love, if you know where this box came from, in the comments. I haven't found any identifying marks as to that. It's got a price written in it that says, you know, it says $125, $11, so I don't know if that was a price or if this is maybe this is something she got at the garage sale and just thought was neat, and I'm getting it now too. But I just thought, you know, there was other stuff from other places, so it might have been something she bought in travels, I don't know. But if you have any information on where, you know, about the box, I'd love to hear from you. Another thing I got, and I always kind of keep an eye out for this is an antique cigarette case. Now, I'll say right now I'm not going to open it because the latch on it's kind of busted and it doesn't always like to open. I mean, you know, let's see if I can get it to go. Oh, there we go. So this is a cigarette case. I obviously don't smoke, but they are so cute and so decorative, and you can find other things to use them for and store things in. And so I got this one. Like I said, to give you an idea, everything I'm showing you today, we spent total, just like it was $49 total. So, didn't spend more than I think $10 or $15 on anything. But back to the Japanese stuff, I got 2 really interesting Japanese artifacts. So I've been on the lookout, just in general, for a really nice sake set, because, and she didn't have a full set, but there was the carafe. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, carafe. And this was just a really pretty one, and it had a pretty design on it, and I think it was like $5 maybe. And for $5, yeah, I really like how I'm always putting things up to the camera and then it gets blurry, and I hide my face. Will you focus? Go. Okay. So for the final thing I'm going to show you guys, I did see this in the preview. I wasn't totally sure whether or not I was going to get it. Like, the dolls, like, she had a really great international doll collection, and but I'm not really a doll collector, but my grandma was. But this doll was something kind of different, something kind of interesting. It's not quite the right scale for doll houses, but I could kind of fudge it a little. But anyways, it is this Katsurano with 6 wigs. I'm saying that wrong, I know. But it's this box, and if we open it up, it's this little doll, and she has different wigs you can put on her, and she is beautiful and delicate, and some of the wigs have kind of fallen apart, like the little tassel parts of them have come off, but I'm going to grab the one wig that doesn't have that kind of stuff, and I'm going to grab her. She has a stand too, but I'm not going to put her on her stand just yet. So here she is, and you can put the little wig on her like so, and put her on display, and this was just so beautiful and delicate. And I felt like, you know, let's see if we can put her up closer. Get her the focus on. Oh yeah, she has a face. Isn't she adorable? I'll be honest, even though she was kind of, I had seen her and I thought about it. Like I said, when I actually saw her, she was just so beautiful and delicate. I felt like I had to have her. I really appreciated the artistry that went into the doll and how beautiful and delicate she is, and I wanted to make sure she had a good home. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with her, how I'm going to display her yet, but so excited to get her. So estate sales, they are an amazing thing to go to. Like I said, you kind of get this picture of a life lived, these whole other human stories. It makes you really appreciate just that other people have these whole other universes they occupy while you occupy your own universe, and there's can be such great overlap, and it's a way to, you know, get a glimpse into the past and maybe preserve a small piece of that past on your own. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my guide to estate sales. I hope you enjoyed looking through this haul with me. If you want to, when I usually go to a estate sale, I post the haul on my Instagram, and I will post this haul there. I'm waiting to post this video and then I'll post the haul. So just not to be a little less, you know, avoid spoilers. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can check out my hauls. If you'd like me to do more haul videos, I would love to. Just let me know below in the comments. And let me know your own estate sale tips and what you do when you go to an estate sale. Or if you've never been to an estate sale and have questions, feel free to ask. If you like this video, please give it a like. Please check out my other videos. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you can catch up with the latest and the greatest. I would love to connect with you on social media. Like I said, I have an Instagram. I also have Facebook and Twitter, and links are below. I hope you guys have an enchanted day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!